We had a great week last week. We made more than a modest profit on the races and we got the AFL multi. Let's recap week 9 and get stuck into week 10 at Moonee Valley.
Done our dough, chaps. We've done our dough.
As always, check out our weekly shows on YouTube. And if you'd like to see more odds content, scan the QR code on screen and you can follow the Insta page. So, reviewing week 9. It was a much better week than I expected. We did have all the bets sort of clustered around that one meeting at Caulfield, some in Sydney, but it was good. So Shame was close up 4th. Sunset Dreaming was good in 3rd. We got the trifecta in that race, a little deep one, which we didn't have anything on each way, which was sad, but we did get the trifecta. It's always hard when you got 3 or 4 that you like and you've sort of got to make some decisions. So that was a real opportunity at $8.50, but we got a bit of trifecta money back there. Keats in race 2 was no good. That was gone very, very early. Rise at Dawn was what I hoped and expected. Tough in the lead, tough to run down, won the race. Ended up paying about $2. Actually, no, we got it at $2.30 and ended up paying about $1.90, so it was short in the end, so got something back there. Lover Zoo was great. I think that's a horse that has a big spring ahead, or just in general, I think it's a good winner. It's a horse that knows how to win, so got money back there. Small amounts back on that race as well in exotics, just quinelles and trifectas, but with the bonus bets taken away and with the small payout, it was only a few dollars. Race 4, I was throwing a few darts at the target here with I Miss Margie, Hello World, More Mum, but Beast Mode. Beast Mode was really good, just went straight to the lead, and it was a bit of a leader's track at Caulfield, and so that was really good. A dollar each way, got back about 15. And then also part of the Quinella, Hello World ran second, which we also had. Didn't have it for the place, which was an oversight, but we did get money back for the Quinella. Just narrowly missed the trifecta. Cavallo Ramponte was one of those ones that, had to narrow it down to 5. Put in Prince Zero, probably shouldn't because it didn't have that good a Caulfield record. Could have subbed it out for Cavallo Ramponte and got a slice of the trifecta as well, so that was close. Interest Point, just no good. Maybe it went a bit too hard up on the pace. Drifting was really, really good. I think that's a serious horse. Happy to have pinpointed that early and looking forward to seeing that run more. Just like Gabby, no good. Couple of small cashbacks there on some scratchings. Arkansas Kid was really good. It was $3.50 on the Friday when we backed it and ended up paying about $2.40. So the money came and people cottoned onto that, to that being a seriously good horse. Expressiveness, really good in 3rd. Didn't have it for the place. Again, another oversight. We all make mistakes in life. Pericles was solid without being super impressive. Aegon was flying at the end. It was really set up by that crazy classic Buffalo River pace, which really brought Aegon into it. He got a bit of a checkered run, so you could say he should have finished closer, but I think he sort of wound up his run a little bit too late. He could have maybe saved a little bit more ground on the turn or just got into a better position a little bit more, but it was very close up 4, so we just missed a placing there, but we got $2 of bonus bets back on Pericles running second to 3rd, and we got $4 back of bonus bets for Aegon running second to last, even though he only ran 4th. Lounge Bar Ruby was no good. Running By, which we had in that Quinella, won and paid about 19 on the tote in the end, so that I didn't have that for the win, so that was another opportunity there, but we did get the Quinella. Running By betting the Open, so we got half of 46, so we got $23. That was great. And then in Sydney, nothing really to report. Tartana was scratched. Dawn Service ran second in the first, got bonus bets back, and we backed a lot of favourites, and they all ran placings basically. So Way to the Stars, Sequestered, High Octane, Terra Mata, got bonus bets back there. So in the end, $87.17. Really happy with that. We were already up $160 for the year on the racing, so that puts us up almost to $200. And we've got around about $14 worth of bonus bets there to use. So that's in a good position. And overall, we are looking at, a cumulative net return of 196 ahead of a $450 outlay. So really, really good. It's a net return of 43% on the racing, which I'm stoked at this point, but it is a small sample size. So let's see how we are going halfway through the spring and then at the very end, but very encouraging at the moment. And then AFL, it was a hard round and I didn't have a lot of expectation, but it was really good in the end that Adelaide could just stay under that margin. They threatened to get blown away a little bit at the end, but the 22 points was comfortably under the 30. And St Kilda, well, I mean, half time it looked really in jeopardy, but I mean, they ended up winning by so much that we didn't even need the 25-point margin, so that was great. And then the Giants winning narrowly, but sort of doing what was expected. So about $50 back there for the $20 outlay. So we won't see the $20 bonus bet from the AFL that we usually have been seeing, but that's awesome as to add to the profits. So we are ahead there as well, around about a 16% percentage rate on the AFL as separate to the 43% on the racing. Overall, it's around about 36%. So to be a third up at this point, I will take it. So getting into the race day, we're going to do a similar template to last week. We'll basically look at Moonee Valley. We'll throw in a little bit of Sydney, but again, just mainly for the bonus bets. We won't do like a full 2-meeting split at this point. So yeah, let's look at Moonee Valley and see what we can do. Okay, so race 1, a 2,500 metre quality to start the day. Not the greatest race ever. It's sort of a few horses that have been running in that 70, 78 grade over the last few months. A couple sort of starting up. What will happen? Well, Dashing Duchess will go forward. I think the $1.90 is very, very optimistic and very short because it did win well last time and that can't be denied. But I mean, it was sort of like 78 grade. Beat Brilliant Venture, but I mean, I don't know if that's the greatest form reference. The international form is always appealing. Like Point King and Alder ran really well last week. Lordship this week, he's 2 runs into his prep. Moonee Valley might not suit. He might want sort of a bigger track to stretch out, but you've got to respect these internationals over 2,000 to 3,000 metres really. So I think the 420s value there, especially with 53.5 kilos. Dashing Duchess may get a good run up on speed and may win, but I just feel like the $1.90 is too short. Think and Fly will be up there with it. Too Close to Sun might even try and do a bit of a leading job and pressure. Wycliffe doesn't like Moonee Valley, 4 starts for no placings. Hot Suspect is an interesting one. It's trained by Paul Pruska, who's a really, really good trainer of staying horses, and it's only second up, so it might not really be ready to fly on Saturday. But the odds are just so appealing. $11 for the place, $80 for the win. I'd love to see that get into a top 3 and sort of shake up the trifecta dividends. So I'll be doing something around that just out of, I don't know, the excitement of it all. It might not run anywhere. Moonee Valley might not suit. It's had run, I think, one run before and run 7th out of 9. So again, it hasn't really been, I'd say, running against much, but, you know, a couple of good wins at Mount Gambier. Below that 78 grade, that was sort of in like, well, it's 1 in 78, 1 in 66. But yeah, like the form's not really going to be that conducive, but it's got good runs on soft, so I'll be interested to see. Look Sharpish, Brilliant Venture, solid. Vegas Night back last start, didn't do anything. What to do here? It'll just be interesting to see how they go up on speed and what happens. I'll be doing an each way bet on Lordship, just with respect to the form, respect to the upside that it's got. And then some trifectas around that. Think and Fly likes Moonee Valley and should get a decent run up on speed, especially from Barrier 1. Dashing Duchess should be up there. And roping in Hot Suspect as well. So, yeah, I think maybe with those trifectas doing Roving Banker, so like Lordship and Hot Suspect, and then also Think and Fly and Hot Suspect. And O'Connella boxed as well, and then each way on Lordship, race 1. Race 2 at Moonee Valley, 1,200 metres open, Colts and Geldings 3-year-olds. This is cool. It's another small field. Zesty Man, well, let's start with the favourite, Daggers. It's coming off a really, really good maiden win where it just booted clear. Not sure what it beat. If you compare that to Skipjack also had a really good maiden win a few months ago. And then this prep, it's run a really good third behind First Settler, which is a good horse. And it ran 7th at Sandown by 3 lengths, and it missed the start by generously, like at least 2. So you could basically compare the pair and say, cool, they both had really good maiden wins. One's paying $2.60, one's paying $13. Admittedly, Daggers has got a better barrier, but Skipjack's a really good horse. So I don't see the value in the $2.60 of Daggers. It might win, but like, what did it beat at Sandown? We don't really know. Ruda Royale, really serious horse, really undervalued. It's been running in some top flight races, and it's been beaten by small margins. So it was behind Haya Sugi, Group 1, 1,200, lost by 3 lengths. Was second to Traffic Warden in a Group 2, and then 12th behind Lady of Camelot in Sydney, again by 4.6 lengths. And then before that, to run second to Shangri-La Express, 4th at Moonee Valley in a listed race. Good horse. 7 runs for 3 placings. Hasn't won a race yet, but gee, this is dropping back to open grade, especially after a 4-month spell, a lot of upside. So I'll be having something on that. Wolfgang's interesting. It was good form early, then it's run in the Magic Millions. Something was amiss, it sort of got eased up, and it's ended up running 25 lengths last. But then it sort of had a bad run at Flemington, and it's been spelled for 6 months. So that will be something to watch. I won't jump on yet, but that could easily improve. Zesty Man, getting back to this, was really, really good in its last run. It ran 4th at Moonee Valley behind Blue Stratum, and it was sort of back in the field, and sort of around the turn, it didn't really look like it was travelling that smoothly, but it powered home, and it will just depend on what kind of run it does get. It's hard to win running on at Moonee Valley. It depends. Sometimes it can be that pattern that suits it, but it will need a bit of luck up front. But at 40 to 1, well, it was 40 to 1 before, now it's into 30s, but 30 for the win, 6 for the place. Very, very tempting. So Last Druid has been in good form, but again, it sort of hasn't tested the waters in the group grade yet. It's gone maiden, open. That's fine, but Zesty Man and Ruta Royale are bringing a lot. Polyglotton, Stolly Bolly down the bottom. Both had good maiden wins, but I really question what they beat. They sort of looked to be going up and down a fair bit. Polyglot was also on a soft and a heavy, so remains to be seen what will happen tomorrow, whether it is just a little bit soft because of the rain or whether it does drain and get to good. But not really super convinced there. So in this one, it'll be something each way with some bonus bets on Zesty Man. I think the each way pick will be Ruta Royale, just out of respect for the class factor. And then we'll weave in quinellas and trifectas around Zesty Man, Ruta Royale, Skipjack. And we might sort of do that as roving bankers, or sort of have those ones for first and second, and then do a bit of a field for third. It'll all be in the bet sheet, in the bet sheet at the end. But yeah, Skipjack is really, really good value at $13. That's going to go under the radar. A lot of people will just see that 7th and think, oh, it's failed, but it really, really didn't. It was powering late, and yeah, I'm very keen to see what Ruta Royale can do coming from the back at Moonee Valley. Okay, race 3 at Moonee Valley, the Air Italia handicap over 1,500 metres. This one, Dom's 230. It's quite short. It's even shorter on the tote at $1.50. I don't know. It's going to go up and lead, probably. It was a good second behind Iron Velvet, who is a really good horse last time. Trunk's going to go up as well from barrier 8, trained by Gay Waterhouse. So that will could end up being a bit of a speed battle. Lavalier's going to sit back. Decent Sydney form. Don't know how it's going to handle Moonee Valley. Cosmic Coco. Interesting damn name there. Coco as in Chanel. It's quite long and quite funny. Yep, there's one a maiden. Evaporate, I didn't like it initially, but then I sort of saw that it, 2 of its runs had been down the track in Group 3 and Group 2. Between that, it had run second in a maiden to Immortal Star, and then in this prep, second and then a first in a maiden. So I feel like from barrier 9, that could come across and sort of sit in that 4th, 5th, 6th zone behind Diamond Trunk. And then Saman City as well. The runs have been pretty decent and sort of open grade. It hasn't been working its way up from maidens. It's been quite solid. So I feel like from barrier 3, that could also get a decent run sort of off the speed. I'm sort of more shaped by who's going to get a good run in this. I don't know if the value's there for Dom. Trunk might, with 60 kilos, might sort of come across from 8 and get posted. Who knows? Some of the ones down the order here, Gigantor's had one run over 10th, Spot the Grey, I think better over more distance. Cool Star, 6 starts for no placings. It'd be cool if they got into the placings and boosted the exotic dividends. But yeah, initially I was thinking I'd just bet on Dom. Then I wasn't so sure the more I thought about it. I think Evaporate could be the go. So for me, you could go Dom or Trunk easily. I'll just go Evaporate each way just for a bit of a point of difference and maybe just to stay out of that speed battle a little bit. And then a trifecta around either Evaporate and Saman City as roving bankers and then the field to rove, or something boxed. I think the roving banker option's better because I really don't know how these other ones are going to go. So one with Evaporate and Saman City, 5 and 6 as roving bankers, and then another one, let's do Dom and Evaporate. They are still quite short in the market, so it's not really going to pay a whole lot, but something for an interest. And then going to race 4, this is the 1,200 metre 3-year-old Open Fillies. This is a hilariously difficult race. I won't be betting much in it, but if we go down the order here, Manolo Bling was scratched last Saturday. It's coming off a good open grade win over Husk. Barrier 1, perfect. Immortal Star, as mentioned in the previous race, the form there is quite good. Third behind Blue Stratum last week. Before that, listed, placed behind Bold Bastille. It beat Evaporate, as mentioned. Photograph, coming off 2 good wins, one in Maiden, one in Open. Beat Diamond Firetail last time by 3 lengths. Serious horse. Could be really good. Trained by James Cummings. Diamond Firetail, I think, will pop up at big odds at some point soon, probably at Flemington over the Carnival. But I think it'll get forgotten about running around at 16, but, that's still definitely got its chance, and it likes slow ground. All Woke provides the South Australia point of difference, first and third at Morphettville, then, 4 month and more spell coming over here. So that will be interesting from barrier 9. She Smashes, $23. It's sort of been forgotten about a bit because it's had a good win in a maiden, then it's gone to Group 3, run 5th behind Drifting, and then it's had its one run resuming. So, could easily run a place. Then we get down to Forever in Time. Look at this. First in a maiden, and then straight to Group 1. This is in New Zealand. So wins the maiden by a length, runs 5th to Velocious in a Group 1 by 3.6 lengths. A lot to like. $13, a lot to like. That I've got a good feeling about that. And then you go into Too Darn Discreet. Ran second in the maiden, straight to an Open. Ran 4th behind Tropicus. Comanche missed 2 unplaced runs. Really tough. I just have no idea. And I'm happy in that way. It's good to not have to try and force a result. Sometimes you look at a race and you think I have to win, or I really have to try and figure this out. You don't have to. Sometimes you just go, no, this is hard. I'll just watch it, move on. And if you come in from that point of view of I don't know, often it sort of frees you up to actually come to a good conclusion because you're not invested, and it's not your ego sort of trying to tell you, I have to. It has to be this, or it's got to be this. So yeah. In this one, you could really go. Manolo Bling still is actually like quite a good proposition, even at 260. For me, it'd be that each way for the bonus bet back scenario, and then definitely bonus bet something on Forever in Time, and then probably a trifecta around one with those two, Manolo Bling number 1 and Forever in Time number 7 as roving bankers with the field to rove, and then something else to try and bring in that value around Diamond Firetail. Probably All Woke as well, so maybe like a boxed for like 1, 4, 5 and 7. It'll be in the bet sheet at the end. That one's a bit tricky, but yeah, interesting race, really interesting race. All right, race 5 at Moonee Valley, 78 grade over the 2,000 metre Cox Plate distance. Yeah, this one's pretty tough too. Lincoln Rocks, I can understand why it's $3.10. It was very impressive last start. I think up in grade. Is it up in grade again here today? Yeah, it is slightly. It was the 70 last time. So it's going to have to contend with the big field. It rounded them up pretty well last time. Barrier 6, it should get a good run. It's just pretty tough. Horses like Commander Harry always threaten to do something. Star Vega is a second favourite sort of at $4.80. I can see why it's sort of been building up to that win. Don't know if it's the most conducive value at $4.80. Things have got a chance like Quantum Cat. I sort of still do like Jabberwockies. I think it's a good horse. It has got a lot of weight with 60.5, and it's got a bit of a wide barrier too with 14, but it's been really consistent. And I think people are sort of forgetting that. The $12, it might be going under the radar a little bit. There's some ones at big odds like Lionel and Verona trying to find form. Pacino down the bottom is interesting. 3 kilo claim. Trained by Paul Pruska. Mentioned previously, good trainer of Stayers. So getting up to, it's second up here, but getting up to sort of the right distance range, that'd be something I'd like to have a bit of a place bet on, just to see if it can get into a place. Rise 2 at number 16, the bottom weight at $6.50 has been building up as well. It's sort of running that 68, 78 grade before. Don't exactly know tomorrow. It should be in the mix for all Quinellas and trifectas. Betting race, this one for me, not especially. Another one I should mention, New York Hurricane. The form has been good. It's more of a place getter than a winner. 6 wins from 32 starts, still really respectable out of Manhattan Rain, but 12 placings, so it does place a lot. So for me, each way, I mean, you could go Rise to it quite easily. You could go Lincoln Rocks quite easily. I'll probably lean towards, I'll probably take a punt on Jabberwockies each way and then do a trifecta around Jabberwockies number 3, New York Hurricane number 4, Lincoln Rocks number 7, Pacino number 15, Rise to it number 16, something around that. But it's a really open race, so not super enticing on the betting here. Moving on to race 6, 1600 metres, 78 grade. This one, sort of similar scenario. The favourites step aside, but barrier 14, it's only won 20% of the time, and it hasn't ever won on soft or heavy. So question marks there. I think people have just sort of tried to find a consistent enough horse in this race to make the favourite. I don't know if it's based on that it's really, really set for tomorrow, or like the planets are aligning for tomorrow. Name Drop is very good, like the previous race. Number 16, bottom weight, around that $6 to $8 mark. That's been really good. Definitely valued there. Rick's Cafe could be ready to do something. It's sort of getting up to the right distance range. That's something I'd like to have a little bonus bet sort of each way on. A lot of horses here you can make cases for. It's just very open. Regal Zeus is another sort of second favourite around the $4 mark. I'd like to take that on. Cordor, I mean, two wins from 10 runs. It's been good lately. Before that, good form in France. So that will be interesting. Barrier 1 likes to lead. Could get a good run out in the lead. The form, like beating like Worsfold and Maricourt, it's not really like big names, so that takes away a little bit. Matthew Flinders is interesting. 2 wins out of 18 starts, doesn't bode particularly well, but has run some close up staying races or middle distance races internationally, and then it's struggled here. But then it's had 2 good trials, and its recent win was over 1400 and won by 4 lengths. So I'd like to have something for the place on that, just out of complete interest. Good Oil over from New Zealand, Sir Davy, very tough, very tough. For me, it'd be bonus bets sort of each way of the place on Rick's Cafe and Matthew Flinders, just to see. And then the each way bet, I'll do Name Dropper. I like the name, I like the form. 8 to 1's good, bottom weight, so that can be the each way sort of for bonus bets back. And then we'll do some sort of exotic, but just more to have an interest. It's not really like a huge betting affair. Getting into race 7, this is a small field. I really quite like this. 1500 metres, 4-year-old open. Young Word is dropping in grade a lot. I know it's a horse that doesn't win very often, and it's got 61 kilos. However, it's been running in a lot of Group 1s, Group 2s, Group 3s, and it does like Moonee Valley. So to me, the $17 is really good value, and I think that's going to get crunched in between now and Saturday. So the tote price there is 7. I think it'll probably end up being more like 11. But yeah, want to be on Young Worder. And then also Jenny Lala has had really good form. It's coming off a spell. It has raced in that group grade. I mean, 2 lengths behind Zugotcha in a Group 1, bodes well. 3rd in a Group 1 in Morville. Near last at Flemington behind Pride of Jenny, but that's okay. It was coming into that off of a 84 grade. So that's another one. $9 I think represents really good value. Holy Man's will probably, stepping up to this against some of these horses from last time might be tough. I like it though as a horse, and I mean that 1.4 lengths behind Gentleman Roy looks really good now, and that was the 3rd of August, so it's had a few weeks to sort of settle, and then run second up, and it's 3 starts second up for 2 placings, 1 start at the track for a win, so that's also very good. So in this race, the favourite down the bottom, See What I See, 8 starts for 6 wins. That's been coming through the grades really well. I can see why people have put it at that 280, last time winning in the listed at Morfettville. St Lawrence has had a little bit of a break, which is nice. That's a consistent horse. I think Rhapsody Chic at 5, I'm not really seeing the value. Rheinberg's been up for a long time. Again, I think at 5, that's probably on the decline, and some of the others are sort of ready to pounce. Green Fly, who knows what it's going to do? $16. You could make a case for a lot in this, so it's sort of about what are you going to do at the end of the day. I'm going to go each way on Jenny Lala, each way on Young Werter, and we'll do a trifecta and Quinellas around 1 Young Werter, 2 Holy Mans, 3 Jenny Lala, and 8 St Lawrence, and roll the dice on the others. I look forward to seeing what See What I See does and how it measures up, but I think there's some value in some of these top weights. So that's race 7. Okay, so race 8 at Moonee Valley, the Carleon Stakes over 1,000 metres listed. Really good race. Mornington Glory was so impressive last week. It was just, the money came late. You could just sort of tell that people knew that this was well placed, and the way it won, it had the drop on those leaders and just ran away. It was so effortless. The $3 was an absolute gift. Will it do the same tomorrow? Well, Bold Bastille is serious competition and only has 50.5 kilos. So that is something I would almost lean towards. Bold Bastille will probably go to the front and get a really good run. Moonee Valley wasn't a leader's track last time, so Scuderia sort of lost out there, and it ended up running fourth, and it's out to $17. That shouldn't be those odds. It just it wasn't suited last time. From barrier one, that could go up on the inside, lead, get a good run, hold on for a place quite easily. Well, Bold Bastille should get a good run. Mornings and Glory will have to make some sort of decision to come over and cross or to sit. There'll be other horses around there. Sans Doot will go up. Golden Boom's an interesting, another good boom sprinter out of Spirit of Boom. Acroban Tula folded up last time. I liked it then and I was wrong, so don't know what it will do on Saturday. Griff, great quality horse. Obviously this is a bit short for it. I would lean towards sticking with Mornings and Glory because of how dominant it was last start. I know that the barrier is a bit of a contention, so I wouldn't load up a lot on that, but I'd have something sort of modest on Mornings and Glory. I'll be very interesting to see which of the two the runs that they get, that and Bold Bastille. And I'll do some sort of exotic around to bring in the value of Scuderia, and then maybe to throw in Golden Boom at the $8. So 3, 5, 8, and 9. Going to the last race, the 1200 metre Dr. Sheehan Plate, 1284. This one's open and this one's tough. I feel like you could say the same for Why Worry. It wasn't really a leader's track last time and didn't get a great run. So at $10, I think there's some sort of value there. Veloce Caro might be coming to the end of its tether this prep and then coming up against some sort of fresher, bigger, better horses. Not necessarily better, but just sort of different horses at a different time stage of the preparation. Might not be ideal. Hard to know this one. Super artsy. Home Rule was good last time. Rycoke was really good in its first prep early on and then raced some tougher races. The 380 sort of, you're assuming that it's going to come back to its best form and dominate. Might not be sort of set for this, so it sort of makes me think that the 380 is not that great. Extra 2, 390 just edged out for second favourite. Has got a good winning strike rate, 5 out of 14, and does like Moonee Valley, so there's definitely a case for that. It's not really a bonus bet situation in this race because we'll have to use a token for it. So I'd probably just be leaning towards maybe each way on Why Worry, maybe something on Extra 2, and then some sort of exotic around 7, Why Worry, 8, Extra 2. Maybe throwing in something like Along the River, number 12. I'll put it in the sheet, but yeah, not a huge betting race, that one. We can move right over to Sydney. The early races here, I just sort of want to be involved just for the bonus best back situation. So the first race, I'll stick with the favourite, Well Timed. The runs have been good. It's another very open sort of midway race. You can make a great case for some outsiders down the bottom. Zaragoza at 30-1 could definitely do something, but I'll just stick with Well Timed for the bonus. Going into race 2 over 2400. Here, it's interesting. Jabberwockies has been entered for this. I'm going to go for Majestic Style down the bottom. I like the name, like the barrier. Lightweight 12-1, just for something different. I'm not sure Kurita's a real winner. That's the current favourite at 480. Going on to race 3, the 1100 metre Tab Highway. This is another massive field. Creon's the favourite, number 16, barrier 12 at 250. Exit fee from a similar barrier, number 14, and one rung down at 17. That's paying $650, so they're well in the market. Number 20, Duplicate, I think will run a good race. Lightweight, good barrier from 2, a win and a placing from 5. I think that's something to look at. When these favourites are sort of coming from the wide barriers, I'm sort of looking for some value in horses that are going to get a good run. So I think Duplicate fits into that category. I think Milton Road also fits in. It's paying 5. It's had 8 starts for 2 wins and a placing, but it was a good win last time at Lismore. Barrier 4. National Wheeler on board. There's a lot of pros there, so I would go each way on Milton Road and then something like a bonus bet on Duplicate, and then doing a Quinellas and trifectas around Milton Road, 5, 16 Creon, 17 Exit Fee, 20 Duplicate. Good betting race, lots of options there. Race 4, I think Peace Officer number 4 has been building up to a win. It's paying $550 and it doesn't win a lot, but I'd like to be on it. I think there's some value in there. Middle distance, 1600 metres. I feel like it will sort of get its just desserts tomorrow and probably win. Moving over to race 5, the first of the group races, Group 3, over 2,000 metres. Here, I'll stick with the favourite Elias, paying $2, coming off some really good wins in France, and then a win at Randwick over Hopeful. That's paying $2, so yep, that'll be a good bonus bet back situation. Going to race 6, the Daly Silver Shadow Group 2. This one, Manal's a really good horse, so I'd like to be on that number 1 at the $2.80. It is pretty short because it is a good field, but barrier 4, I like that scenario. And then in the Quinellas and trifectas, there's some outsiders down the bottom. So number 8, Silmarillion, number 10, Sakima, really keen, and number 13, Bauhinia. So sort of Quinellas and trifectas, 1, 8, 10, and 13 there. But yeah, good race. Race 7, we're getting to another group 3, Democracy Manifest. That's all over Instagram right now. Jolly Star's the favourite at $3.30. I'll stick with that. Griff's also been entered for this race at 40-1, so I might do sort of like a bonus bet for the place maybe there just in case. But Jolly Star for the bonus bet back in race 7. And then race 8, the Wing Stakes. This is a really good race. Detonator Jack, I think, offers some value over the 1400 first up. I think that could run into a place or just in general run well. Some seriously good horses here. Riff Rocket, Fangirl, Via Sistina. This is fascinating. Zoo Gotcha. Just really quality from first to last. This is awesome. Fangirl's just got an impeccable record. The 220 is probably a bit short, especially from barrier 9, to go like too heavy on it. But I mean, it's paying $1.04 on the tote, so it just tells you that people have loaded up already. A Tissue has got decent stats over this. Well, in general, I mean, 40 starts for 10 wins and 14 placings, but track and distance 2 from 2, likes the distance, and then first up as well, 1 win, 3 placings from 8. I just feel like that, it's had a few trials as well, could be ready to run well first up. So I'll probably go Riff Rocket for the bonus bet sort of bet. I think the 950 is good value, and I'll just do something different to Fangirl. And then Quinellas and Exactas around 2, Detonator Jack, 5, Riff Rocket, 6, Fangirl, 8, A Tissue. Samana had that form in Brisbane. I'll sort of wait to see how that goes. Tropical Squall, definitely down the bottom, could do something. Great viewing race. So that's race 8, the Winx Stakes. And then race 9 and 10 I'll leave because I just think I'm probably going for too many. So then moving into the final round of the AFL season, round 24. What a great round it is going to be. So Melbourne Collingwood on Friday night. It's a folly to tip against Collingwood at the MCG in general. They did get a pounding by the Hawks, but they were great last week fighting back. This round will be pivotal for so many footy tipping competitions. So I'm looking at a lot of these matches from the lens of could they be an upset, because personally I'm too behind and I need to claw a few back to try and win. So I feel tipping-wise and betting-wise, there's a few different things. Tipping-wise, I'll probably need to take Melbourne as a point of difference. If the rain comes, that could help them because they've been good in the rain. They were good against Essendon. They were good against GWS. They haven't beaten Collingwood for a while, and this is sort of like a nothing game now, 12th versus 10th, where they might be able to do something. They were good last week, being the Gold Coast. Don't really know how well the Gold Coast are travelling at the moment. But before that, Melbourne had that close loss to the Giants. They have been playing well, so there'd be some chance, betting-wise in this, probably leave it. Geelong should have an easy win over the West Coast, but there's no value. Richmond, interesting. I don't like betting on bad teams when it's one lowly ranked team versus another lowly ranked team. The only thing that makes me interested is that there are so many finale games and sort of end of an era sort of situations for Richmond with sort of like by proxy, a farewell to Dustin, who didn't want the attention of a final game. But, I mean, he'll be there thanking Grimes, Marley and Pickett retiring. So I feel like there'll be a big Tiger flavour about the whole day, and they could get over the line at the G against Suns not really playing for much. Although Damien Hardwick would know that Richmond team inside out. So coaching against them, he probably will know every way to exploit them. But there's probably some value there in the 240. Hawthorn against North, no value, $1.04. I don't think North will get blown away at Launceston. They could be competitive for a while, but I've been wrong about Hawthorn too often, so I'll just leave that game. Brisbane Essendon. I've been wrong about Essendon and so many times, and obviously the Gold Coast one was a bit brutal. So Brisbane should win, need to win. Essendon can do funny things when they're outsiders. Leave that game. Sydney Adelaide. Funnily enough, I think the $1.38 is quite good value for Sydney. I think they're out of that rut now. They've back into top gear with the win over Essendon. Adelaide haven't got much to play for. The talisman Walker, I think, will be out. So I do like that Sydney. I think they'll just have a regulation win, even though they've got not much to play for, and it's the last match before finals. There's not really any great need to win, but they'd want to go in off playing good footy. So I think there's something to be said for that. Dogs versus Giants. This one's great, just great in general. I mean, the Giants are playing for the top four for potential second place and a home final. The Dogs are playing for survival to even make the 8. So where do you draw the line? The Giants have been so good lately against good quality teams. The Dogs have pounded some teams, but then had some strange losses. I don't know whether they should be $1.50 here. I don't really know if it's a good betting match because you can take a position either way. We'll park that for now. Carlton and St Kilda. Carlton were... The handball game that they played with that small forward line in the windy conditions in Perth really was effective, and they really dominated a West Coast team that isn't any good. They did it well, but it's hard to line that up. St Kilda were great after half-time, but had Geelong just sort of fatigued and were slow, where St Kilda really playing good football. If you look at the last 5 rounds, it's up and down, up and down. So St Kilda could be the party spoilers here for Carlton, but one team's had a really good year and is sort of fighting for its place. The other team has had an up and down year that hasn't really meant a lot. So I do like sticking with the teams that are better, I would say, and have played really good football like Carlton have. So I'm more keen to stick with them. I just don't know. And then Freo Port, it's going to depend a lot on who's got what to play for. If Freo are definitely out of contention by this point, well, it sort of changes the scenario. But Port still need to win to get that second spot. But then if the Giants lose, the pressure might be off them. So I'm reluctant to take a big position on that at this stage. So looking back at it, I'll leave the Melbourne-Collingwood game just because it's too unpredictable. I'll do a Richmond with a 30-point head start because I think that no matter what, they will fight and play quite well. So Richmond with a 30-point head start. Sydney to win. Feels a bit weird to do that, but because they've got nothing to play for, but we'll throw it in. Sydney to win. And then Carlton with maybe like a 20-point head start just to give a little bit of breathing space there in case something goes wrong and they lose. They probably will win, but let's just do it at that. So recapping, Richmond with a 30-point head start, Sydney to win, Carlton with a 20-point head start. Simple 3-leg bang, $20. So that does it. That will wrap up the AFL season. We will be ahead after this round, no matter what. And worst case scenario, we'll have hopefully a bonus bet back to play with next week. And then we'll have to think of something to bet on in the meantime while the footy's off. So I'll have to get educated and upskilled on some other sports. So that's it. Let's hope that this week goes well. We're getting into real spring carnival flavour country now. Be great to see how this Group 1 Winx Stakes goes. And yeah, good luck for your betting. We'll be back with an interview episode shortly. That's a special one coming up. And yeah, check us out on Instagram. The QR code's back up on screen. And yeah, let's see. Let's bring on the weekend's racing and we'll go through to week 11. Bye.
And in came Sweet Liaison as they turn for home. Jefferson, he's been in front every inch of the way. He's out like 2.